So when did fathers become afraid to say, because I said so to their children? And when did parents try to be friends instead of the authority? And how did a generation become primarily raised by women and government institutions? There are three uncomfortable truths. Children need authority and not friendship. Boys need masculinity influence. And family structure affects your outcome. Today, we're going to tackle America's fatherhood crisis head on. First, we're going to examine Pastor Mark Driscoll's call for the return to traditional dads who prioritize authority over friendship and understand their job in raising their children who can survive in this world. Next, we're going to address the epidemic of boys being overly mothered and underfathered, creating a generation that lacks the masculinity strength needed for biblical manhood. And finally, we're going to confront this uncomfortable statistic about single mother households and the urgent need for male influence in child development. We further going to explore God's design for fatherhood, the spiritual warfare that's targeting masculinity leadership, and the practical solutions for families facing these challenges. Now, today isn't about condemning struggling mothers, but it is about restoring biblical fatherhood and understanding why it takes a man to raise a man and God's design for a family. And with that being said, let's get into it. Well. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Pastor's Q&A. Yeah, we are here. We are live in the building today. We got in the words of the twins, we got a good show for you today. Yeah, a real good show. Can't say what they really say. Not trying to steal their thunder and what they do. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pastor's Q&A. We're going to have some fun today. How is everybody? Steve, I see you. What's happening? Hey, Allure. Hey, created by God, led by God, a.k.a. Miss Yaz is in the building. How's everybody? If you're on YouTube, Facebook, however the case may be, say what's up, say hello, so we can shout you out real quick. How's everybody doing? And please, whatever you do, please, come on. Don't be afraid. Give us... I don't know why this thing don't ever restart. Give us a like, a share, tell a friend, subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, click on all, so you can get all the notifications every time we go live and every time we do this here and anytime we do any pop-up videos or anything, even with our shorts, you can get those notifications and, meet us here on the Pastor's Q&A. Today we have a doozy. Pastor Mark Driscoll. Now, some of y'all might know this guy. If you don't, one of my favorite things I saw with him, I think it was at the end of last year or somewhere around this time last year. He rebuked the pastor at a men's conference. He was actually invited to speak at the men's conference. And he was led by God to rebuke the pastor who was putting on the men's conference because he decided to have gay men sliding down. They built a whole pole on the stage inside of the church for this man to put on a whole show, a pole dancing show. That was kind of interesting. And to see a man of God stand up for God and stand up for God's principles was refreshing and welcoming and warming. So she will get up as soon as I switch the camera, huh? So So it was refreshing. It was warming. It was good to see a man of God really stand for the principle God. You said, oh no, oh yes. And he got kicked out. They kicked him out. They kicked him out off stage, out of the. I got a stain on my shirt that's bothering me. They kicked him out of the thing. So, but today we're gonna go through a couple of things that he has said. Now, I can say with this first video, the first video is a little different because the first video, thank you, by the way, has one of the most liberal people you could ever meet. And it's crazy because he knows that they're wrong, but yet he still chooses to vote for liberals. So the first video I'm gonna show has Bill Maher. And I don't know if many of y'all know Bill Maher, but Bill Maher is a late night host. I think also Bill Maher's also a comedian. And he also deals in politics and things of that nature. And he bashed Trump for 12 years, and then he eventually went to the White House, and then his tune has kind of changed. But in this video, Bill Maher makes a statement. Also, I believe Bill Maher is, I think Bill Maher is a gay guy. I think. And if I'm wrong, Bill, please forgive me. But he's very liberal. But to hear him say this is a little bit out of his norm. So check this out.
The traditional dad, the trad dad, needs to make a comeback. Back to the dad who believes that because I said so is a perfectly legitimate answer to any question a child may have. A trad dad knows he's your parent, not your friend. Hey, buddy isn't in his vocabulary. He isn't your emotional support animal. Trad dads don't negotiate. They say, you will apologize to your mother. Don't make me turn this car around. Some things just happen because life is unfair. He's simply a guy who understands the job, to raise an adult who can survive in the wild.
So the only way to really understand parenting is the Christian worldview, and that is that a child is born with a sin nature. That means that they are prone towards selfishness, folly, self-destruction, and if left unchecked, potentially even evil. The goal is not to just allow the child to grow up and express who they are, but to invite the child to meet God, Jesus Christ, and have him change who they are, giving them a new nature. And so the primary purpose of fathering is to be the pastor in your home, to lead your kids to Christ, to disciple them in the Christian faith, to give them the Word of God and to give them the commandments of God and to teach them to have a personal relationship with the Holy Spirit so that their new nature can overcome their old nature.
The traditional dad.
The trad dad. Now, I thought that was different because they called him a trad, I guess, for traditional. T-R-A-D. Trad dad. So what do you think?
As far as what?
Or what he said?
I agree.
That the trad dads need to come back?
Yeah.
So what do you think is hindering that in this particular culture?
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
Yes.
Talking about the little people who be screaming all the time with the pink and purple blue hair.
That is not cancel culture. That is LGBTQ, and everything is not about them. No,
No.
cancel culture. Cancel culture is not LGBTQ only.
No, I know
It's
that.
about all the people who everything is my truth. If you don't agree with me, then you hate me. If you chastise me, then you hate me. If you don't cater to me, then you hate me. That's cancel culture.
Yeah, those are people with pink, blue, and yellow hair. They're not all gay, but you have people with pink, blue, purple, yellow hair.
Yeah, but it's not only them.
So, but how does this also? But this is also a fickle in the church.
Cancel culture.
But how did we get here? How did this come about?
Subtly, like everything else. It just kind of crept in.
The Lord said cancel culture is woke culture, which is about canceling things that they think is bigotry. I can't see that.
I can't see it either.
Misogyny, bigotry, misogyny, or oppressive. So my question becomes, how does the old school dad, the one who say because I say so, how is that oppressive?
Well, that would go to how they say that masculine men are oppressive.
Masculine men are oppressive.
Yeah, that's what they say. You know, y'all are domineering and y'all want to oppress the woman and y'all want to tell them what to do. And y'all are a threat to society because y'all are dangerous and y'all are abusive and violent. That's what they say about masculine men.
So they will have a problem with Jesus because when he come back, he's going to be very violent. Maybe they skipped over that part of Sunday school. I'm sorry. So Allure said
Yeah, that part.
Allure says, oh, what did she say? Allure says he's right. A lot of them do have pink, blue. Oh, they do have pink, blue. Right. They're not all gay. They just be screaming with different color hair and lipstick on. But cancel culture be everywhere. Yeah, it said you have people in the church who believe in the woke culture. And then it says, I think it started with the real issue. Then it started becoming something different. People believe in masculine men are oppressive. Never met a masculine man.
I don't think it's that they never met them. I believe that they've come up against the wrong masculine men. Let me re-say it. Let me take that back. Because a real masculine man is not threatened by someone, so they don't have to prove their masculinity. So what they have come up against or have known are men who are abusive. And there's a difference between being abusive and being masculine, if that makes sense.
Okay. That kind of makes sense. Now I see what that guy was talking about. He said I like a slim Phase on love. I couldn't do nothing but laugh back in the comments. He said like a slim version of Phase on love. I thought that was funny. People believe that masculine men are oppressive. Never met a masculine man.
So I would have to agree with that.
And I kind of believe that that's true. No, I think that they have. They didn't like it. Because most men, there's certain principles and things that we believe, we stand on, we live by, we go by, that a lot of the other people don't like. We believe in being the head. We believe in patriarchy. We believe in God. We believe in family. There's certain things that we just stand for, that we believe in. We believe in hard work. We don't believe in excuses. We believe in making things happen. Even if you fail, make it happen. Because failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a teacher. So when you have someone that pushes you out of your comfort zone, they now feel that you're either a bully or you're this or you're that, because now everybody gets a trophy. And now since everybody gets a trophy, because I used to coach, I had a great player, but he was hard-headed. And I told his parents. He got mad because I stopped the whole game. Come here. Sit right here. Coach, I told you, when he over here, he belonged to me. When I let him go, he belonged to you. But they respected it because it taught him that he couldn't be selfish, because he was the only child. He had to share. All of the things that they wanted him to learn, and all of the things that his dad was afraid to do because of his mother-in-law, I did to him on the basketball court. And then it was easy for dad to begin now to push what he had been wanting to say and what he'd been wanting to do, because the mother-in-law began to see that it was effective. And she began to see that your grandson, I don't really care how you feel, your grandson can't act this way. That's number one. Number two, this is my team. So if you don't like the way I coach, you can take him wherever you want. 3, you don't pay me. So I don't care what you say. What I say over here goes. And because she's always ran her house and never had a male authority buck her back, I became a problem to her. And she felt like I was a threat and a problem to her grandson. So I believe they do meet masculine men. They don't know. They don't want to submit to the authority of a masculine man. Stevie Steve says, in the beginning of life, learning about God and Jesus is important. And he used his famous word,
But.
but.
What is the but?
So what's the but, Stevie Steve?
Right.
Come on, Stevie Steve. You can't keep leaving us with these cliffhangers. I be want to know what the but is, Stevie Steve. Stevie Steve be out here trying to leave us with the cliffhangers.
Okay. So I was trying to do good. So baby girl said they may have also only met worldly masculine men instead of godly ones. Lord said, I've met worldly masculine men, and they have morals and principles of godly men, just don't worship Jesus. They were kind, fair, just, and respectful, and honest. Agreed, but everyone's encounter is different. Not everyone meets a masculine man who is worldly, but have morals and principles of godly men. To be a true masculine man, you have morals and principles. They might get them from the Bible, but they have morals and principles.
Most men live by rules. Rules are safety. Rules and boundaries give us freedom. Even in the gang world, there are rules. I never forget, I had a friend who was a gangster disciple. And he wanted me to join so bad because he was like, we need leaders like you. And I told him I don't believe in dying over Crayola. That's just not my thing. And then you want me to fight somebody because they wear a different color, but we all look the same. But anyway, what I respected about them was they had notebooks, those composition books, and they had rules. Like they had a constitution that you couldn't do this without this permission. You had to do this. You couldn't do that. You couldn't go here. Like they had boundaries. They had structure. Now this is a gang. This is the street. But they had rules, regulations, boundaries that you couldn't cross, you couldn't do, you couldn't say, clothes you couldn't wear, places you couldn't eat. Like,
but life has rules.
Life has rules.
And that don't matter where you go, everywhere is going to have some type of rules. Now, whether you live by or follow those rules is something different. If you hold yourself accountable to those rules. But there are rules everywhere. And gangs and in the street really go by rules. I don't know about nowadays.
No, nowadays,
but I know back then, in the day, you knew you broke these rules, then.
But you also have to understand, like, whether godly men or worldly men, we're taught to live by rules. It doesn't matter where we are, what we do, we live by rules. The streets had rules. They used to anyway, like you said. So there were boundaries that we set. We had other men in our lives that we set. I think the greatest issue is that men are missing. The other issue is you have young men who have been without men for so long that they don't listen to other men because they don't feel like they should submit to certain authority. I was explaining to my little brother yesterday when he came and brought me a situation. And he asked me, what did I think? And my answer was, they're moving like and they're portraying the emotion of a woman. That was my response to what he asked me. He asked me about a certain male individual. He said what they did. And my reply was, he didn't have a male to teach him how to control certain emotions. So when he lashes out or when he does what he does, that's what women do. Or that's how we as men have perceived women to act in this particular emotion or in this way emotionally. And that's not how men act. That's how not all women, but a lot of women act in that manner. And so I told him, he's portraying the emotions of a woman who didn't never learn how to control her emotions.
So I'm just curious. He couldn't just be acting out as someone who never learned how to control his emotions. It don't take away from the fact that he didn't have a male to teach him, but he just never learned how to control his emotions.
He didn't probably learn how to control his emotions.
Why it got to be he acting like a female who never learned how to control her emotions?
Because that's
He's
how
acting like a male that never learned how to control his emotions.
Because that's how we depict it. That's how we as men see it. We see you acting like a woman. That's just how we. And there's no disrespect to women. It's more of a little girl stumps her feet and run up the stairs.
I know a lot of little boys who stump their feet and run up the stairs.
Right. So
it don't make a difference because they're kids. And you teach them how to act. So it don't matter if it's a boy or a girl. Both of them start at the same age, which is at a child that throw temper tantrums. And if they never learn how to control them, then they become adults who throw temper tantrums.
I mean, I agree, but that's just. That's just how we see it.
You're sounding real misogynistic.
I sound misogynistic?
Yes, you do.
I'm sorry. What did it say? Put your message back.
You got to go up some more.
Where we left off at in the message comments.
Right there.
Right there.
They might not get them from the Bible, I meant.
They might not get them from the Bible. Not everyone meets a masculine man who is worldly but have morals.
We're down.
Where we at?
Where it says created by God. That is definitely true, oddly enough. There are men who feel they are masculine and have no morals or principles.
Oh yeah, now you do have those. Now you have men who think that they're masculine and they don't have morals and they don't have principles.
Go down.
And then to me, then you're not a man. You are a boy acting out. That is definitely true, but you have men who feel that they are masculine and have no morals and principles. That's right. Now, I don't classify them as men, to be clear, but the reality that we live in, I don't classify them as men either. Men can feel however they want. It don't make them true masculine men if they don't have morals or principles. I know men who feel like women... What? I know men who feel like women don't make them a girl. Great point. Again, the reality we live in. That might be their reality. Doesn't mean that I have to agree or follow with that. When you get to that point of your reality and my reality, then we need to go to an objectively true. Or how about we just stick to godly truth. And then we can just leave it at there, regardless of how they feel. Allura, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Your reality belongs to you and you alone, whether I agree or not. So is there a difference between reality and truth?
Yes. Because we walk by faith and not by sight. Reality is usually what I see, what I live in. This is my reality. The reality is I am a black woman because I was born with female parts and I live here in Georgia. That's my reality. The truth is Jesus Christ because my reality can change at any moment. I can move to Florida tomorrow.
But wait a minute, hold on. But part of your reality can't change. And part of your reality don't need to change, which is the fact that you are a woman. So let's slide that reality in the truth column.
But here's my thing, because for someone, they may have been born a woman, but their reality is to them, they would say their truth is that they are a man in a woman's body. So their reality is different for them. This is that whole where people say, "Oh, truth is what's the
Objective.
word? Yes, truth
Subjective.
is subjective. No, truth is truth.
So
there's a reality and there's a truth. To me, reality is more facts.
So let me ask this question.
This is just my opinion.
Okay.
This is strictly Mama Q's opinion.
So let me ask this.
Pastor Q's opinion.
So let me ask this question, Pastor Q. Is it a truth or is it a fact that you're a woman?
Both.
But facts can change.
It sure can.
But again...
But truth cannot.
Right.
But that wasn't the question you asked me.
But no, that's the question I'm asking you now.
Right. Hey, Prophet Miller.
Hey, Prophet Miller. So my question now is that a truth or is that a fact?
It's both.
But
it's a fact that I'm a woman, and it is also a truth that I'm a woman.
Okay. So
now it's depending on who you talking to, whether or not that fact changes.
That might change.
Right.
So, but everybody's I think Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody's a man till they get punched in the face.
Oh, okay.
It's the same for when women who try to be men. You're a man until you get punched in the face.
That part.
You're a man until you get punched in the face. Just like men who want to be women. You're a woman until you get punched in the face.
Nah, you're a woman till you get called a man, and then your anger comes out, and then you act like a whole man.
That's you getting punched in the face.
Cause your ego bruised. Okay, I'll take that.
Right, that's you getting punched in the face. It's like I was watching a video on how I was gonna bring it here. Even for this episode, but I was trying to save it because right now Trump is trying to ban transgenders from being gun owners.
Oh, okay.
He's saying that there is a mental capacity. They have a mental disorder. And the argument was made was they should do, for people who register with guns, they should do the same thing as they do with insurance. So when you are applying for insurance, they get the opportunity to check your medical history, your medications, and everything just like that to determine where you sit. It's not that you can't get insurance or you can't get life insurance. So I never forget, the lady told me I had to quit smoking for at least 3 years for my life insurance policy to go down. Mm-hmm. So for a $250,000 life insurance policy, if I was not a smoker, it was going to cost me $95 a month. Mm-hmm. But because I was a smoker at the time, it didn't cost me $265 a month. All because I smoke cigarettes. Mm-hmm. So they were saying to look into the same thing when it comes to buying guns. Now, I say that because there has been videos to surface lately from the trans community. And one of them was, I am a trans woman, and I wish you as a dad or a man or anyone, I don't care if your little girl is in the bathroom or not, I'm going in the woman's bathroom. And so the what they call it, the clarion call for all trans to begin to become aggressive and to become violent to anyone who disagree with them, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, or whatever the case may be. So this call has went out. And again, you're a woman until a masculine man steps up and punches you in the face. Because I believe that this is the greatest fight that we have right now with boys. Especially young boys. Especially boys who are at the groom age. How do we as men now begin to step in and to change the trajectory of what is taking place, of what is happening? It says, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It says, I think he is trying to convey horribly that most men who are raised by women show the emotions of bitter women, and therefore, okay, and that's it. That's where they are objective with truth. There is no person. There is a person reality, and there's objective truth is more important than. I read what you said.
They're having a conversation with each other.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all not talking to us no more. Got you. Respectfully, I'm not a man before or after getting punched in the face, physically, mentally, or emotionally. But you wouldn't put yourself in a position to be punched in the face. And no, because you say you didn't want to view this as me, but I wanted it to be clear that I just because you think something or because someone says something doesn't make them that thing. Got you. I got lost in the comments.
They having a
whole thing. Mm-hmm. So, as a mother, do you feel that there is a male issue in this country? And I asked that question because for
what do you mean?
where boys being raised to truly be men. And I say that, and the reason why I say it is because for a long time, I used to say, man, my daughters might not never get married.
Well, we're going to break that curse in the name of Jesus.
Well, I wasn't cursing, trying to curse them.
You weren't trying to, but you did.
But they got married. So
all of them are not married.
Right, but what I'm saying is I used to say that because of the upbringing of certain men or certain boys. And my thing was either it was one of three things. They was going to jail and they was never ever coming home. They was going to the grave, so we wasn't going to see them until Judgment Day. Or they played on the other side of the fence. Knowingly, well, whether you knew that they were playing on the other side of the fence or not, they were playing on the other side of the fence. So now it becomes, how did you have, as a mother who raised boys, what has been your greatest fear, or what has been your greatest, how you look at men, or how you wanted your sons to become or be as a mother?
Everything that you say about boys that have been raised by single moms is not, my sons don't fit none of those. Not one of them.
Info at anthonymediallc.com.
My kids don't fit none of those categories. Not one of them. My sons are men. My youngest son, he's not fit. He's not went through the full maturity yet, but he doesn't fit the typical or what you say, what being raised as a single mother produces. You didn't come up how you portray what a single mother would produce. So it's all about the training. It's all about the mother. What are you instilling in them?
So I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to show this video, which is part of the clips for today. I wanted to show this video because in this particular video, there's a nice young lady who's having a conversation, and I brought this video on here because I agree, but I disagree with her. The one thing that she said that really kind of triggered me, that made me want to bring this video on here, is that the product that comes from a single parent is a bad product. But I want you to hear her in her context, because I kind of wanted you to address this, because you've been a single mother longer than we've been married. So I kind of wanted you to address this young lady. So here she is.
It takes a man to... It's a proven fact that single mother households produce the worst product.
Facts.
It's
That's
a fact.
100% fact, yeah.
If you take two-parent households, single father household, single mother household, statistically based on facts,
Yep, you're right.
the household with the woman heading it by herself produces the worst product. And for our people, for black people, for African American people, those single mother households are the reason why prisons are filled with a good majority of our people,
100%
right?
right.
So these are facts. You sit this on the table. Here go the facts. And then you say, so y'all need to start valuing men being involved in the lives of your children. I can't make you be with your baby daddy, or we can't say that somebody has to stay with somebody, because we know that children are being born out of situations where the two people aren't healthy together.
Yeah.
But that you having access to a man and a woman during your upbringing needs to be brought back. A lot of these men that you were, when you're referring to, what men are doing with women in relationships, it comes from the fact that they lack a man in their upbringing. So we got a good majority of men that walk around and they're thinking, their emotional capacity is that of a woman, because all they ever saw was how to be an adult from a woman.
Yep.
So I both agree and disagree.
Okay.
Well, I think where she differentiates from what you said was she said statistically. That means she didn't generalize it.
Right.
Statistically, she's absolutely correct.
That
When
single
you're
mothers produce a
talking
bad product.
Statistically.
Right.
If you look at the stats, she is absolutely correct. If you're looking at the numbers and the stats. Here's the other side of that. What I have found is that majority of the time, even when I was raising my children, what kept my children from being like others was prayer, me bringing them up in the church and living the life that I am speaking. That's first. Secondly, was me being under submission to God, for God to show me my problems. And in him showing me my problems, me becoming open enough to understanding that I affect my children. And because I love my children, I have to take a step back and deal with the issues that my children have. Majority of single mothers, you have two situations. One of those being you have a good mom, but because she's a single mother, she's working all the time. She's doing the best that she can, but in that, she's losing her child to the streets. Because a lot of single mothers don't have support. That also makes a huge difference. What kind of support do you have? For me, I had my mom, which believed the same things that I believe. So when I was not there, my mom still held and maintained and held accountable my children to the same things that I had going on. So I didn't, for lack of, so let's go back to, was it last week when we was looking at, last week or the week before when we was looking at the kids that was acting a monkey?
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. The little boys.
Right, the little boys that was stealing out of the store.
Right.
You have to look at the environment, because obviously all the people around them, all the adults, were teaching them the same thing.
Okay.
Whereas for me, the support that I had were teaching them the same thing I'm teaching my kids.
Okay.
So you have to look at the difference. And majority of single women out here, like I said, one, they're working so much that they to take care of the kids that they're absent. Or two, they're living that example I just gave, where they're teaching their kids this how we act. So they end up dead in the grave or in the prison, while they're living out a life because, let's just be honest, I want to do what I want to do.
Right.
And you gonna raise yourself.
And this is where we get, and this is where you have, where men, when we see other young men or grown men acting that way, this is why we say you have the traits of a bitter woman or a woman who didn't want you but she had you. So because that's all you saw, you never really saw how a man deals with his emotions, and probably most of the men around you did the same
so
thing.
You can't say that.
But and that's why.
But it's just a matter
but we still take it back to the root of, you do this, you act out that way because you lacked this, which was, as the girl stated earlier, a man or a mature masculine man, whether he biblical, godly, or worldly, we still all tend to follow the same trends and principles. Just sometimes everybody ain't in church and everybody not praying to Christ. You got some people who praying to Allah. You got some people but they still have set structures. Like, we as men, we don't do that. Like, I ran with a gang of Muslims in high school, even before I met Amir. This is how me and Amir was actually able to be. I was the only Christian in a black organization in a high school where the only way you could lead the organization, you had to be a senior. I was appointed by the graduating senior as a freshman to take over. And he was a true up and down, all day, every day, devout Muslim. Everybody who followed him was a Muslim. He respected the fact that I wouldn't budge off my belief. I would listen to him and I would respect him, but I wouldn't budge. I stood, and that's what he respected. And he also knew all of them had a dad in their household or at home. So with that, he saw my dad at the school. He saw him at my baseball games, at my practices, at the PTSA. He would just pop up at the school just because he didn't have nothing else better to do but to just pop up at the school. So he saw I had men. So he knew I just wasn't floating along trying to figure it out. And I believe a lot of young men are out here floating along to figure it out.
They are.
Now, this is my question to the courts. Kind of wish somebody from the courts was on here. My question to the courts is, if statistically a single father household is almost the same equivalent as a two-parent household, why don't they allow the child to go with the father?
Where you get that from?
That's what she said.
She did. I missed that part.
And it's also statistically known that
I thought she said single mothers or single fathers.
No,
the same.
It's usually statistically single father household have less problems. It's almost equivalent to producing a child that is coming out of a two-parent household. And if that is the case, then Either why don't men take the kids, or why is the system designed to take the children from the men? If statistically, factually,
we've already discussed that quite a few times.
but I was asking the court, hopefully this will become a short and somebody from the court can see this and answer my question of why, if statistically, factual, that a two-parent household and a single father household produces almost the same, as she said, product, the same person, then why is there a fight for that? Why not just be like Matthew? Oh my God, how did I get? Why can't we be like Matthew? Where's the ESV? So it'll be in plain English. Can we just be like Matthew? Why we can't be like Matthew? Adam was the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers, Judah the father of Perez and Zerah by Tamar, and Perez the father of Perez, the father of Haran, Haran the father of Ram, Ram the father of this guy is the father of that guy is the father of Solomon, then you got Solomon's the father of Boaz, by Rahab, and Boaz is the father of Obed by Ruth, and Obed is the father of Jesse, Jesse the father of David the king.
Hey, Shantae, sorry.
Hey, Shantae. So that's my question. Because, and I say this all the time, and it's no disrespect to women, it's no disrespect to my daughters, no disrespect to my wife, none of that. Because as a father of daughters, there was a set of daughters who went and petitioned God to get the inheritance of their father because by law they was not allowed to have it. God saw that, made some changes. They was able to get the inheritance of their father, because usually it goes to the son, because when I give my daughter away, she now goes into that family. My point is usually the sons bring an add-on to the father's family. So, for example, our son will get a wife. He will be adding on to our family. Our daughters will be leaving, adding to somebody else's family. So, if that is the case, and usually it's considered the father's child, because your name would be Shaquita Bar Walker, because I don't want to butcher daddy first name. My name would be Anthony Bar Anthony. That'd be crazy. Anthony Bar Anthony. So you are your father's child, the way is God designed it. So why not let the fathers raise their children? Why not pack them up?
That would be great if the fathers wanted them. Because if we're talking statistically, that's not the typical case. Hello.
Hey guys, Temple on Earth. Shalom.
That's Janae, I believe.
Not from what I've seen in court. Because I've been
if we
on,
talking about statistics,
statistically.
let's stay there.
Right. Most men statistically.
Yeah, that's Janae. I thought so.
Most men statistically want to be in their children's lives. It is more of a small percentage. It's almost like you said, the last 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes. The one with the squeaky wheel is the one who gets the oil. There are more neglectful dads statistically than there are fathers who want to be in their child's life.
That's my point. You just made my point. There are more neglectful dads.
No, that's not what I said. I
That's
said there are
exactly
more
what
dads.
you just said.
I said there are more dads who want to be in their children's life than neglectful dads.
You said
Now
the
I could be
opposite.
wrong. So let's pull up the stats. Go ahead, keep talking.
I don't have nothing else to say because I've already said what I need to say.
What is the statistics? You didn't give me a chance to finish what I was gonna say.
Because there are more men who leave their children than there are women who leave their children. And they leave their children with women.
Because it's designed, the court will automatically.
No.
Because
no,
most
no,
men don't
no,
even have.
No. They walk away without the courts being involved. It has nothing to do with the courts. They walk away willingly, leaving these children fatherless.
So they walk away.
Yes. They go and they start whole new families. Or they just like being the playboy.
Do more fathers.
And I'm not saying that there aren't dads out there who want to be dads and just so happen that they get with these raggedy women. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is there are more men who walk away from their children than there are the ones who want to be dads. And there's quite a few reasons for that.
Statistic shows by research showing a significant majority of fathers actively want to be engaged in connecting with their children even if they live apart. It indicates that both fathers, if their children feel apart, to spend time with them, largely citing circumstances rather than a lack of desire. So more men want to be fathers than those who walk away, statistically.
You said a key point. Because of circumstance, not desire. It's one thing to want to be apart. It's something else to actually be apart.
Data on childbearing intentions show only a small minority of fathers view children as unwanted, about 9%, while 90% want to be fathers in their children's life.
So,
while 24% of fathers in the U.S. do not live with their children, many still attempt to maintain contact, and a substantial percentage of non-resident fathers visit or maintain relationships post-separation. The majority of fathers want to be in their children's lives with the lack of involvement, typically due to external barriers rather than the lack of interest. The evidence shows engaged fathers overcome many obstacles, maintaining connection and support. And that's the point I was making, that there are more men who want to be a part than those who lack the interest, regardless of why they can't be there. Because there are barriers, whether we divorce, whether we going through whatever the case may be. I had to leave for whatever the circumstances may be.
But you asked the question. This is the question that you asked. You said, why don't the courts give the men the children?
Right.
I said the men leave the children.
So my question is this then. So if men leave the children, why?
And as I said again, there are many factors to why.
Right.
Because it could be one, they never had a dad, so the pressure could be too much. It could be, and don't look like that, because I know men who have left because they can't take it.
I didn't say anything. I'm just.
It could be that. It could be they're having issues with the mother.
Right.
It could, but even with that, it's so many different variables and differentials that go with that. But again, they leave the children.
Right. But the question becomes why. So for example, if me and you start brawling right now, who's going to have to leave this house? It will not be you. It will have to be me. By
Even
law.
if it has to be you. By law,
They're not going to let me take the kids with
if you
me.
leave, are you not going to come back for your kids?
I am. But at the same time, they're not going to let me take the kids with me. Because my question would be, why can't I take them with me if I have to leave? That's number one. Number two, if we was going through the divorce and we had kids, usually 9 out of 10, the mother gets the custody. At birth,
Custody is always joint. Always.
Nope.
Hold on. Because yes, it is, and I learned this going through divorce.
It depends on the county.
Custody.
It depends on the county. Because in Fulton County, I was denied joint custody. And the only reason why I was granted legal joint custody was because my ex-wife hung up on the judge. That was the only way.
Because I was told in Georgia.
There is no joint
that
custody.
there is joint custody.
There is joint custody, but it's not automatic. Because if that's the case, then you would be granted.
I was told in Georgia
men would not have to go through the legitimate. No man has right to his children until he goes through legitimized.
You're absolutely
So there
correct.
is no joint custody of the child until you have. Men have to go through a process.
If you're not married to them.
But if that, regardless
if you're married,
if we're married or not, my question becomes, if we're married or not, and I'm telling you that this is my child, then why do I have to go through this whole entire
now, if you're
process?
married, you don't have to go through the legitimization.
You don't have to go through the legitimization.
Right. If you were married when the child is born.
Right. But even when we separate, I still have to fight for some type of custody.
No.
And
you going by your experience, I'm going by mine.
Right.
No.
But even still, you still got to get
it was
visitation.
not a fight, and it wasn't.
But the question is,
it was a matter of no.
And that's probably why.
No, because it was and it was told to me the only way that you could have a full custody is if you prove that the other person is negligent or incapable of taking care of the kids. That's what they told me, that is the state of Georgia. They didn't say DeKalb County.
Well,
they said the state of Georgia.
In Fulton County, it was different because I wasn't granted. The only way I was granted it was because she hung up on the phone. And the judge told me to my face. She said, I was not giving you no custody. I was only granting you visitation, and I was only going to grant you that she could not hinder you from making phone calls to your kids because every county in Georgia is its own sovereignty. So it doesn't have to adopt the rule. So now, since it's its own sovereignty, She told me while we was going through the divorce that because I was already paying child support, she wasn't going to deal with that because I dealt with that the week before. She told me that she was not going to give me full legal joint custody. She was only going to give me visitation, and she was only going to make sure she was going to put in writing, which she did write in her own handwriting, that I should not be hindered to speak to Ajane or Lure at any time when I call. She wrote that in her own handwriting on the divorce decree. And then she said, because she hung up the phone on me, being rude and nasty, because she didn't even want to give me the divorce, and the judge only allowed me to do it because my ex-wife agreed to have the telephone hearing, because she told me she was going to throw it out. And I had to go back through the whole process of having her served and all that other good stuff. So then once we got there, she said, the only reason why I'm giving you this and I'm granting you also visitation is because she hung up the phone. And that was how I was able to get full legal joint custody with visitation. So that's why I believe every county might be different. So but statistically, so yeah. But what don't you agree with her about? Because you said you do and you don't agree.
No, that's why I said I had to go back.
Got you. So, do single mother households produce bad products? I don't think so.
Again, I think it depends on the household, but statistically, they do.
Statistically.
That's why I started off with saying statistically, stats say that she's correct.
So, again, to ask this question, because again, you was a single mother longer than we've been married. What do you think should happen in order for that statistic not to be what it is?
We need more houses grounded in God that's teaching right from wrong. Parents that are able to be there for their children fully, meaning they are there, fully present. When I initially going through all the issues that I went through with my children's father, because I was so broken, I could not be there fully present for my children. that affected them negatively, because now here I am, I'm taking out my frustrations on them. They had to deal with my emotional instability, my low, as Jasmine said, emotional intelligence. And because of where I was, it took Christ pulling me up out of that place, healing me at least to a place where I could be of some good to my children. If you never get to a place where you can admit that you have a problem, and not try to fill your voids with outside stuff, then you will always be, you're going to get what you're putting into your children. One thing that it took me realizing was with baby girl, she physically acted out everything that I was feeling emotionally and on the inside. So all the anger and the rage I was feeling on the inside, she was physically acting out on the outside.
So children can definitely pick up.
Absolutely. They feel everything that you're going through. And because they cannot voice what they're feeling and going through, the only option for them is to act it out.
So with that being said, there's a young lady we know with 2 boys and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much listening to the oldest little boy,
Mm-hmm.
to me, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
He feels the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So not only with that, from her, feeling her pain, but also the neglect
Absolutely.
of his dad.
Absolutely.
And this is why he moves in the way that he moves.
Absolutely.
So if we understand that that is the true, if that is the cause.
But go ahead,
that,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, and then I'll say what I'll say.
I was going to say, is that the main cause of their destruction and how they act, or is that just a piece of the puzzle?
That's the root.
Right, that's the main cause.
That is the root. And with that being the root, now you get all the other stuff on top of the root.
So let me ask this question. Should we go back in the schools and teach boys keep your pants up and girls keep your legs closed?
I mean, we can teach that. The problem with that is still the void. These kids are looking for love in all the wrong places. What is teaching them girls keep your pants up, boys keep your pants up? What is that going to do for them looking for love in a highly sexualized society?
So let me ask this question.
You got a whole generation of lost identities, feeling like they're not accepted, they're not loved. And to add to that, a lot of them have been sexually abused by the people who were supposed to love them. So how do you teach them keep your legs closed, keep your pants up? Because to them, what equals love is sex. And then every song is feeding lust. Every show, even cartoons, are feeding lust. Everything is to feed lust. And I mean the lust of the flesh and the eye.
And the pride of life.
And the pride of life. But I'm talking about just the physical part right now.
So, I mean,
so again, it goes back to having households that's rooted in Christ, because it's the love part that's missing.
so how do we get there?
I keep saying this. Until we get back to meeting the needs of the people in the streets, nobody really, if you think about it, the people in the streets, the mentality is that nobody loves me. Why do they go and join gangs?
No daddy.
No, I'm not going to say no daddy.
No,
I'm going to say there's no love at the house.
They're looking
Because they
for-
can be in the house with their daddy and their daddy is not present. It's a matter of them looking for that love and that acceptance. Prophet said it may not equal love, but it may equal acceptance. Absolutely. They are looking for that love and that acceptance. Those are the two things that kids need. And because they don't have identity, they don't have neither one of those. Well, because they don't have the love, they don't have the identity. I was very intentional in loving on my children, letting them know that they were loved, showing them more than I could tell them. So it created a place of trust with their mom. Even if they could only trust me with certain things that came from the fact that they understood there is a line. I'm your mama, not your friend. But all of them understand one thing. My mama loved me, and she wouldn't do anything to hurt me. I didn't learn, coming from Savannah, family meant something totally different here in Atlanta. I had never heard of someone cussing, saying a curse word at their mama till I got to Atlanta. And the first time I saw it, I thought their mama was gonna knock their teeth out, but she didn't. They was cussing back and forth at each other like they was having a regular conversation. That tripped me out. I had never seen that. And the more people that I became acclimated to, and these are people who were born here in Atlanta. I'm talking about like Grady babies. I never in my life, the dynamics of family was totally different.
Well, I'm a true Grady baby, and I guess it depends on the, like you said, the upbringing and where you was in Atlanta. 'Cause in our neighborhood, you couldn't say nothing without getting your teeth smashed in.
Well, like I said, I had never, that concept was foreign to me, and it did something to me. But I hadn't, and it was the people that were from here that I was like,
Atlanta or Decatur?
whoa, both.
Might be more Decatur.
How you gonna tell? Like I said, both.
Decatur, where it's not greater. Let me ask you this question. I want to play these last two videos real quick. So what do you say to a single mother who's about to get married? To a man who, as our daughters would say, is a masculine man?
Well, before even getting to that point, my first question is always going to be, have you seen him interact with your kids while angry? Have you seen how your children respond to this man when you're not paying attention? Have you left your children with this man by themselves and then cared enough to have a conversation afterwards to see what came of that?
So did you do that with me?
Me and my kids had a conversation before you. By the time you had asked me, me and my kids had already had a conversation.
So what would you tell a couple that's about to get married that is like how we were before we got married?
What do you mean?
So let's say we had the Brady Bunch, like we did, you know.
Okay.
What would you say to them the same way?
The same thing I say to a single mother. I would ask the same questions because I've seen so many families where the mom and dad come together, the dad don't like the kids. Mom don't like the kids, but I gotta take you because I'm married. That's a problem later on because you can only pretend for so long.
Gotcha.
And there's gonna come a clash. And when that clash come and that child says, "You're not my dad, you're not my mom," usually that comes because that parent has acted that way
Towards that child.
And children are smart. They know when somebody don't like them beyond your smile.
So what would you say to them? How would you tell them to cope? How would you tell them to...
I'm going to tell you, you probably don't want to marry that person. I'm not marrying you, and I know you don't like my kids.
No, not that they don't like. So let's say we was having marriage counseling. You have a guy who has 3 kids. You have a woman who has 3 kids. You know.
You got to start somewhere with the relationships. You got to figure out, are we all meshing?
Right. So that's what I'm asking. Like, what would
I'm telling you, that's what that's what I would say. You got to start somewhere. What does the family dynamics look like?
Got you.
When we came together, I had started creating a relationship with the girls prior to us getting married. There was already a bonding there. You knew my kids from coming to the house, the other stuff we was doing. They were familiar with you. They liked you. So there was already some kind of connection there. So when we came together, you know, you're kids always have a idea of their parents being together, their natural biological parents being together.
Right. I know.
Unless they've seen, you know, violence, all that kind of stuff, and they're like, yeah, I would like for you to be together, but I know that's not
right.
That's not good. But it's still, they still would like for the natural parents to be there. But when kids see, they want their parents to be happy. Excuse me, and they will deal with whatever in order for those parents to be happy and remain happy. Sometimes to their own detriment. So what I would say is be very watchful and diligent over your children.
Okay.
Because honestly, we don't know people fully and who they truly are, especially if we're not in Christ. And even in Christ, you still have to be careful because you truly don't know people. So I am very, very vigilant over my children. I pay attention to the slightest changes in attitude, how you dress, how you're walking. If I notice your attitude around someone has changed, I need to figure out why. So you have to be diligent in watching everything. Because ultimately, you're them children's protector. And unfortunately, our children have become prey to everybody.
I agree with that.
So my biggest advice to a single mom, dad, pay attention to your children, their needs, their concerns, because God's given them even a special ability to discern people. They'll pick up on something about somebody that you ain't picked up on, and you'll think this is the best person, and this kid is like,
Nope.
nah.
This got problems.
And
mama.
you trying to say, well, did they do anything? No, but it's just something about them. Pay attention to that something about them.
It's something about them.
What is that Prophet Miller said?
Prophet Miller said it's like what you said, like you were saying earlier, they did what they had to, working all the time to provide for them, but though working all the time, the kid lacked acceptance.
Yep.
So I'm gonna throw these last two videos up here. And the reason why I'm gonna throw them up here and the reason why feel like you've been grilled today is because people have been saying things about fathers, but yet it's not a bad point to single mothers or to mothers, but I kind of want your take from the mother's perspective, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna get into the last two videos. These are both from Pastor Driscoll, and let's get into it real quick.
It takes a man to raise a man. If you allow the government to raise your son, you will not have a man. And fathers parent differently than mothers. The problem that we have is an entire soft, weak, woke, cowardly, passive, indifferent, fearful generation that has been over-mothered and under-fathered. That is the problem.
I agree. Hey,
son.
baby. I agree. Because I've, being a single mom, you have single mom friends. And you watch them with their kids. From the time my oldest child was born, my friends were like, you're too hard on him. From the time he was born till he got to be a teenager, they were like, you are way too hard on him. It paid off. I never gave my kids, not until maybe when we first got married, I eased up on my kids. But I had to understand that I'm raising boys that are bigger than me. So I had to be hard. I had to put up standards. Now you're not gonna be you're not gonna be soft. We're not doing that around here. Now you're not sleeping in the bed with me. We're not doing that. Nah, you not the man of this house. You're my child. That responsibility is not on you. You stay a kid. There were just rules and boundaries set I didn't believe in, you fail? Oh, okay. Come here. Let me kiss you. Let me knock you back down. You got one boo-boo? Let me kiss that. Come here. Let me put the Band-Aid on. All right, let me knock you back down. Because I need you to understand it's a whole world out here that's against you because you a black man. And I saw friends who made me sick with they sons. Literally made me sick. And I'm like, you ain't gonna be no good to nobody's daughter. I purposely raised my children the way that I did because my thing is when you leave here, you got to be a man to somebody's daughter.
Right.
I need you to know your role. I never treated them as if they were my men, but I could do the best I could to teach you how to treat me and your sister. I can't teach you how to be a man, but I can teach you the foundations of being a good person and understanding this is at least what I can give you of what a man looks like. And to be quite honest, I hear everybody saying, oh, well, you know, you got to make sure they have men in their lives. You can't make men be in their lives.
No, you can't.
I had cousins that said, oh, well, I'm going to come and spend time with them. Oh, okay. Never showed up. I had other men who said, oh, I'm going to take them under their wings. I never told my kids those things because I never set my kids up for failure.
Right.
I don't believe nobody when it comes down to them saying they're going to do for my children unless you actually did and showed me. Other than that, no. It was always me, my kids, and because I had 3, I always had everybody else's children. We community over here. And the same way I treated my kids, I don't care how you treated them at home. When they came to my house, you gonna be a boy. You gonna be a little girl. And if I say take the trash out, you gonna take the trash out. If I say clean the kitchen, you gonna clean the kitchen. My house or that.
Now, I will say one thing. When we was dating, sometimes we'll be on the phone, and you will come home from work. I was like, I ain't gonna have no stepchildren, because she gonna kill them before we even get married. Like, I used to hear furniture moving, people falling down the stairs. Didn't I tell you, though? That I would hear, boom, 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 boom. So I was like, oh, okay, so we got a mama that don't play no games. Okay, so it fall in line with the children mothers already have. Boom, 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 boom. Now, I do agree. After we got married, and especially after you had the surgery, you know, you did kind of soften up. You pulled way back. You know, nobody died and got thrown over the balcony. You know, they still breathing. You know.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you do what you're supposed to when they're little, when they get older, you don't have to do as much.
Raise them up in the way they should go.
Raise them up in the way that
Train the child in the way they should go.
Now, here's where I had to pivot because God had to deal with me. There comes a difference between controlling and letting them be. If I've placed this inside of you, I can't be mad or be to the point where I'm controlling you. When I say move, you're supposed to jump and say how high.
Right.
I have to be able, because if that's the case, now I'm playing with control and manipulation. Deceit, not deceit, but control and manipulation.
Witchcraft.
You going into witchcraft. God had to show me that. He had to teach me that. So now I have to learn how to trust what I've put inside of you. If I tell you to clean the kitchen, I got to trust that you're going to do it. Even if you don't move right then, and because of how we were taught and brought up, it was, when I say move, move.
You're right. It's crazy because I'm not going to say when, but there was a time I got up early and the kitchen wasn't clean. So I sent out a clearing call in the house. I said, I don't know who was supposed to clean this kitchen, but y'all need to come clean this kitchen before y'all mama get up. Because once your mama get up, I'm going to act like I didn't see these dishes. And when she get up, I'm going to walk out the door and I'm going to leave you stranded. And then I'm going to let her do what she do, whatever that may be. So the corporate got up. They came downstairs and they cleaned the kitchen. And as soon as they put the last dish in and hit the dishwasher, and as soon as they got upstairs, you were coming out the room. And I was like, grace, mercy of the Lord. I think for me is so I look at the relationship between Allure and Vaughn, and I see how their relationship is because Vaughn came into the picture with her when she was about 2. I came into the picture, Dewan is 18. Anton is at least 2.5 years away from 18. So it's almost like sometimes it's hard to move because you're kind of already set in a way. So I really can't, it's not that I think that you're wrong or you're out of pocket or whatever, but the things that I know that a man should have instilled in you at a certain age, your mother couldn't give that. Your mother could give you certain things, but there are things that men should have instilled in you coming up to the time I met you. So now I don't want you to feel like I'm treating you as a little kid because I'm trying to instill certain things that you wasn't given. And I think my biggest prayer has been, how do I come to them, Lord? How do I do it? How do I say it without it seeming as if, one, you're supposed to have this, but you didn't get it. I don't want it to come across as, you didn't get this. And I don't want you to feel like you are an 8-9-year-old. I don't want to talk to you like an 8-9-year-old. But
talk to him like.
But there are things that, no, because I need to talk to you as you're 18, 19, 20, 23. So the thing becomes, how do you maneuver in that pocket? Because now it's almost like I have to take you back a couple of years for you to understand that you should have got this then, you should have got this at this time, so you can maneuver better. If that makes sense. Because men and women do parent differently. We see things differently. We react to things differently. We talk to children differently. Like, I used to tell you all the time, you know, Yasmin used to always be like, Dad, you have girls. And my thing used to be, I know, but we have feelings. I know. I took them in consideration. But as your dad is not my job. My job is not necessarily to hold you, coddle you. My job is to push you, prepare you, get you straight, stand you, ground you, build you, give you the backbone. Your mother, depending on who your mother is, but your mom, she'll listen to you. She understands you from a female perspective because she is a female. She is a woman. She understands what you're going through, your body, your change, your this, that, and the third. Me, I understand that too, but I'm not going to allow you to use that as an excuse. I'm not going to give you the pass. I'm not going to give you the hard pass for the excuse. I'm going to give you you need to put your big girl drawers on, be accountable, be responsible for whatever the situation is.
But I think that's what a parent is supposed to do. That doesn't have anything to do with a mom or dad. That's just parenting.
I mean, it is just parenting, but most men lean on the bro, we don't care side. We're looking down the road. I'm not looking at you right now. In the last video I'm gonna play.
Come on, baby, because it's already after 4 o'clock.
So let me play this last video, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Cheer.
When there's a mother and a father, which is most likely to overparent? The mother, because usually mom is pulling toward enmeshment, dad is pushing toward differentiation. When mom looks at her, let's say baby boy, she's like, that's my baby boy. Dad's like, no, that's a future man. I see him at 32, you see him at 2, okay? And he's 20. True or false, this leads to tension sometimes between mom and dad. Mom's like, you're being too hard on him. He's a man. He'll get used to it. Dad's pushing toward differentiation and launching. Mom's pulling toward enmeshment and over-parenting. When there's a mother and a father, which is
It takes a man to raise a man. If you allow the government...
Now what I can say is, you're a little different.
I don't even think like that.
Because you stated that you push more than you pull in. And I think because if you watch this sermon as an entirety, and all of the link to his page is in the description box. When you hear this sermon as an entirety, there is a part where, oh my God, I just lost my thought. Where he breaks down how sometimes we raise children to the point of entitlement. And as a dad, we shouldn't be raising boys or girls or our children, period, even moms, to the point of entitlement. But a lot of the times, this is the fight between mom and dad, because we do see things differently. We do see, my son is 23. I don't see him as 23. I see him as a husband and a father. That's how I see him. So the things that I'm looking for and I am saying and I'm expecting, or when he asks me certain questions, I talk to him from that perspective, because I'm trying to get you to see yourself in the exact same light. Because if I can get you to see yourself as a father and a husband, you will begin to think and move that way.
I think for me, when my kids were coming up, I was the way that I was on them because it was always, I need you to be able to survive if anything happened to me.
Right. So you put them in survival mode.
Well, not necessarily survival mode, but teaching them how to do things on their own. If they needed to make an appointment, I need you to be able to call and make this appointment on your own. Like even the stuff, I know I'm your wife, but even the stuff that I do for you, I do more now for them, but it ain't always been like that. At one point I would say, now you need to call and make your own appointment. And it wasn't because I'm being mean, but I need to know that you can function if I'm not here.
Right. I mean, I get that. I also think that with that, it's the blend mix. Because there are a lot of moms. Again, it goes back to the squeaky wheel getting the oil. There are more moms like you than there are producing bad product. There are more dads like me than there are those who are absent. The problem is...
It is nothing flying over there.
The problem is we push the bad things to the forefront. Like when we was talking earlier about the LGBTQ. They make up 0.0001% of the population. That's 3 zeros, then a 1. You need almost 3 million of those to get you need almost 1 million of those to get you a penny. Like they haven't even made it to the penny. So my thing is, because they are the loudest, they are pushed in the forefront. Because the mothers who sit at home and don't do anything, and murder is such a high rate amongst single parent households, that's why it's pushed to the forefront. There used to be a time where you were frowned upon being a single parent household unless your husband died. There was a time where you didn't want to be a single parent. There was a time where you didn't want to have multiple kids by multiple men. Even Pastor mentioned in one of his messages, it's okay to date and marry a single mother, because that would probably be one of the best wives you will ever pick up. So don't push away the single mother.
Janae said, I think that's y'all's. Read it, because you close.
It said, I think that Yah's plan, both parents provide a balance for the child because the approach will be different from each parent with the same goal in mind. And I'm glad you said that, because the question becomes, are we in the same goal? Are we on the same page? And if we're not going in the same direction, if we're not on the same page as parents, then it will split and divide.
Absolutely.
So us having the same goal and the same teaching and the same thought process for this particular child, then yes, we can move this child forward. And it's good that there's a balance. It's good. The child needs a balance. For me, I'm grateful and thankful I had my dad, because that was my balance. Not only did I have my dad, I have my Uncle David, who is bat done crazy, and we know Uncle James ain't wrapped too tight. But these are the men that I had who surrounded me. And it wasn't, oh, Mary, I'll try to come see it. No. This was every day of my life. I saw my Uncle James every day. I saw Uncle David at least 2 to 3 times a week. I saw my dad at least 4 to 5 times a week. Even if he drove by, like, he'll call and be like, oh, I saw you. And I'm saying to myself, I saw you too. But I'm not going to say that because
I don't want him to come see about
right,
me.
I ain't trying to have you pull up on me. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't coming to see about me.
And so another thing is that godly fear of the parent. We don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore. That godly fear.
That reverence.
That reverence. So, yeah. So today has kind of been I don't want to say slow, but a real thoughtful out day. But I can promise you tomorrow.
Thoughtful out day.
A thought out day. However, whatever. I'm lost. But tomorrow, your daughter came up with another great idea. And I would love for all the godly women to be here tomorrow to answer this question from a young woman coming up in Christ. And her question is, should we go back to traditional household? Her idea of the traditional household.
Is this lure?
I'm not going to say which one it is.
I'm going to know from what you say.
Her question was, should we go back to the traditional household? And in the traditional household is the man go to work and the woman stay home.
Yeah.
Now, I asked her a question. What happened?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I asked her a question. I said, if women stay home, how does that affect the economy? And how does that affect men who don't want to work or claim that there are no jobs to work? And are men willing to go back and head their household that way?
Good question. What should I say?
Said it only takes a little of them to pervert the population to embrace perversion, although the people may not themselves be doing that. Romans 1:32. It's the little one.
It's the leaven.
It's the little beat.
Little leaven that leavens the whole lump.
So tomorrow, all you beautiful women of God, all you married women, all you mothers.
We're going might be running a little late tomorrow because I got an appointment tomorrow.
Yeah, so do I. But that is where we're going. Should we go back to traditional family, traditional housing? And will that break the economy?
All right. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll be running a little bit late. But we'll be here tomorrow.
So we see y'all. We love y'all. God be with you.